Hello. Today, my speech will be on why I feel that it is best that women should not be allowed to serve in combat operations in the military. For myself, I am out of the military now. I served 9 years in the Army in a combat specialty. I served 3 tours in Iraq for a total of about 38 months doing combat missions, so I feel I have a decent grasp on the situation. Uh, the points I'll be talking about today are, I feel that there are more cons than pros when it comes to women being allowed to serve in combat operations. Some of these cons that I feel are women are at risk or are high risk of sexual harassment. The health conditions, the hygiene that we kind of have to give up, that and the physical capabilities of men, over the majority of women, I guess you can say. The first thing I would say, and the biggest point to me, is sexual harassment. Majority of men that I noticed that serve in combat operations were alpha males. The more dominant males, and I feel that with a woman or women being integrated into this, we like to joke a lot. They say a lot of vulgar stuff, and I feel some women would take that wrong, and it might mess with the cohesion within the unit between soldiers and having to watch what you say and not, expressing yourself in the, loud and vulgar ways that we do. And just, being, within working together day in and day out in Iraq or in Afghanistan and, getting lonely, I guess, human needs, wanting to be met and making a move on a woman or something and being denied and trying to take it further, and I feel it can cause more problems, rape and other stuff like that, which wouldn't be good for anybody, especially for the woman. And then it cause problems within the troop and not being able to get your mission done, your combat mission that you're there for. The Department of Veterans recently conducted a study and found that at least 1 out of every 10 women who were part of the armed forces that served in Iraq and Afghanistan had experienced some form of sexual abuse. And that's just, the women that reported it. No telling, that number could jump to 3 out of 10 or, 4 out of 10 possibly for women that didn't report it. And I mean, 1 out of 10 even in itself is too high. And I feel that number would be greatly increased with women serving alongside men in combat operations. Another thing is getting captured by the enemy, becoming a prisoner of war. No telling what those women would endure, you know, uh, and they become a higher risk being outside the wire a lot, like we are in combat missions, and it's just not something we'd want anybody to go through, but especially the women, because I mean men are very protective. Another thing is the physical capabilities of it. For me, being a bigger guy, if I was to get injured in Iraq or Afghanistan, um, and having a woman having to drag me out with all my gear and my combat load, I'm pushing 280-ish pounds. And I feel it would be very difficult for a woman to have to drag me to safety, say, 100 meters or so. And I feel the majority, not all, majority of women would have, a tough time getting the majority of men with our combat gear, with her combat gear on. It gets awkward, it gets really difficult. You're using a lot of muscles you never knew you had. And I just think they would have a problem doing that. And that's not something we'd want. We want, something happens for us to be able to get out of the contact zone very fast and time efficient. But with a woman, it might slow us down just a little bit, and that 1 second, could be my life or death, you know. And it's just with the rucking, we also carry 50 to 80 pounds of gear on our backs, and we're rucking, 10 to 12 miles at a time, or living in our vehicles. That comes apart with the hygiene part. We're not able to, properly, shower or anything like that, and it becomes a problem and an issue, especially between men and women, you know. So with the conclusion in that, I just think the mental and physical parts would just be entirely too difficult, and it just becomes a challenge, I guess you can say. And that's not. I mean, we already face enough challenges when we're doing combat missions. So that's just, I mean, adding more on top of that would just make it more difficult for everybody. And like I said, the biggest part is the sexual harassment. You know, I'm married, you know, I have two daughters, and I wouldn't want anybody to go through that. And that's my speech. Thank you.